Welcome to session 4 or week 4. We are going to be looking at the first part of your assessment task. So click on the tile or tab in your grid on your home page, and you'll see that your assessment task is a complete set of drawings consisting of floor plan, elevations, section, details, and site plan for a house. You will be uploading all of these drawings in a PDF file format, and you would be able to send it all as an e-transmit folder. Okay, so that would be the right scale that these would be printed out in and be able to be, or should I say plotted, and then either be uploaded to the site or for the internal students to be delivered in class. Okay, so the for those that are external and need to download the correct file, it is outlaid here as a template, and you can just click on that and be able to save it in your hard drive or USB or both. I do recommend both. So we are going to be looking at, this is of course what I mentioned here as what your completed drawings will be assessed on is this drawing set here. Okay, so it's a compilation of all these all these drawings here. Okay, so what we're going to be doing in this session is going through the requirements to start you off with the first part of your task, and that is to begin with your floor plan. So if we click on that, we'll be able to come to the procedure document, and that will take us through what we need to do to complete this drawing. Alright, so ultimately it will look like that at the end, and there's just a table of contents so you can follow it step by step. And the main thing is that we are going to be saving it as if it can be printed out in A3. That's for the external students, and for internal students you'll be printing it out to A3, okay, as in real life. Alright, so there is a the file needs to be saved with, for instance, to start with floor plan and your initials and the date. I would recommend, this is very important in a sense that it would be good to always make sure that you know what is seen as your most recent changes to your drawing, and that's how you can be able to log everything by providing a date format behind. Now, it is important that you do back up your drawings in 2 locations. At the end of the semester, when you need to submit, I don't like to say I won't, but it's important that you know now that I've warned you that you need to be up to make a second copy, because unforeseen things do happen where computers do crash, etc., and I won't tolerate that as an excuse for a late submission or not being able to submit on time. Okay. A black and white PDF copy with correct line weights will be produced, and that is all to do with plotting, because we don't print out in color. Even though we draw each layer in a color, it gets assigned to a line weight or pen thickness, and that gets plotted out or printed out correctly in thick lines or thin lines, etc., according to that or according to what that layer was assigned to with the color that we chose. So we need to publish the AutoCAD file as an e-transmit zipped folder, and we'll get into that when we need to submit, or when you want to submit at a later stage. So before you start drawing, the following requirements need to be addressed, and that is to be able to download your block library. Now, for external students, there is a block zip folder that is on your in your document, and I'll just go back to that quickly so that we can see it. If you scroll down, final drawings, blocks, there you can click on it, and it is a it comes as a zip folder, and you can download that and save that somewhere on your computer, and you'll be able to then use those blocks to insert into your drawing. I will give a lesson on that at a later stage. All right, so let's just go back to that, and there we go. So over here you'll see that there is also a drawing that you can start your drawing. So this is if you are working at one of the computers on campus, then this is the locational pathway to download that or get that onto your AutoCAD. There is a template available, which is this drawing here, and that can be of course saved and in your name and initials, and then you can get everything started there. All right. Again, it says here, please make sure that at the end of each session that you make a copy of the file to your USB memory stick or your USB hard drive, and a copy to your computer that you're working on. All right, so that at least you've backed it up and it in 2 locations. All right. Remember that even though it automatically saves 10 minutes at a time when you're working on AutoCAD, you never know what happens in between those 10 minutes, and it's good to get into the practice of quick save, which is in your quick access toolbar, which I explained to you in lesson or session 1. All right. So we are going to address this section now, which is creating new layers. And just to start the drawing, it's best to get your interface all set up correctly, and so there's no going backwards and forwards and what layer am I working in. You just want to get started and start drawing, and everything should be set up. So this is critical. So we touched base a couple of weeks ago on layer properties, and I'll quickly just run through that on AutoCAD. But basically we need to make sure that we create all these layers, so there's quite a few of them, and assign them to the correct color. All right, and each of these colors are then predetermined in Plot, which will be assigned to the correct pen thickness that they will be printed out in grayscale as a black and white drawing. Okay, so we're going to be look at just creating that again, and then of course this is to do when you're plotting, so just ignore that for now. So this is just a reference, and there you can actually see the thickness of what the colors represent of the line weights, and that's what your lines will be printed out to. And we'll be then looking at setting up your model space so that you can be able to see your drawing correctly, and that is created by providing drawing limits. So it's almost like a invisible rectangle that you are creating on your space, which I explained in session 1 is seen as almost infinity. It draws as if it is a actual object. So if you draw 1 meter by 1 meter, it is literally taking something that is real life and drawing it 1 meter to 1 meter. Now, if we don't set these limits, you don't want to be zooming all over the show and say, oh, where's this drawing and where's that drawing? So by creating a invisible rectangle in model space, this will allow you to keep your drawings in that space, and you can then press zoom extend or zoom all, and all that you've drawn within that invisible rectangle will come up on your screen, and then you can zoom into where that specific drawing is and start working again. Okay, because we are going to be drawing a lot of drawings, we don't want some information to be lost, so it's good to kind of set these parameters. Okay. Again, I can't stress this enough. Make sure that your author's on and tracking on, and again, that is found in your status toolbar at the bottom, or should be defaulted to the bottom right hand side of your screen, and there is these are known as your drawing aids. Okay, that's a shortcut version, or you can just click on the icons. Okay, so let's just minimize that and bring up AutoCAD. Okay, all right, so for those that just want to go straight into the template provided, there it is there that I mentioned earlier. So let's start that, and that is got quite a bit of stuff set up in it already to help you produce your drawings. So let's just go into ABS drawings. So let's just click on that. Open with AutoCAD application. Yes, it is a read-only file, so we need to save it in our location. So again, you can then go the application menu, drop-down menu, and you can save that as a drawing in a location on your computer, and you can save that as either CAD 2D associated with the name of this course, then say assessment task / drawings / well, that's actually drawings, because we're going to be drawing only in this space here. All our drawings will be in this model space. So let's leave it like that. Okay. Again, you can also just go to the access toolbar at the top here and go save as. All right. So do that. It's then saved in the correct location for you to be able to access that drawing and revisit every time. Okay. Then let's go into our properties. Okay. Not properties, sorry. Let's go into our layers. So home is our tab that we are in, and we go to our layers panel and we click on layers properties. Okay, double click. A drop down menu should appear and start creating your layers. All right, so the first one is concrete. Put your capital letters on, so concrete. All right, and change that color by clicking on the color block, and a select color drop down box will appear, and these are the colors we'll be working with. All right, they're numbered 1 to 9, and that you'll see when you're creating the layers, you'll see that they are assigned to those colors down there. Okay, don't pick any of these colors, or don't think, oh, I think that's the green. If it says green 3, you're going to select green 3. All right, so what is concrete? Concrete is green 3, so we select green 3, we press OK, and now concrete is assigned as green. Okay, and we then going to create another layer by going to that little icon at the top that has the explosion sign on it. Click it, create another layer. Now it defaults automatically to whatever the previous layer we created, so we then need to type in, of course, the next line, which is dimension. Okay, and I'm having a problem spelling, and we then click on what dimension color it is, and it is red, which is number 1, and we select that. Okay, and you do that following all of those layers. You'll see that you have a scroll bar down here to move you along. All right, and if you can't see, for instance, that's quite wide, so I'm just going to actually click and drag it so that it makes it a little bit shorter. Okay, and I'm going to make this a little bit wider so I can actually see the color written, and I'm going to move my line type a little bit out. Now, to me, that I can see let's just do that again. Now I can see things clearly. Its dimension, I can see that it's a red color and it is a continuous line weight, and it's defaulted because that is going to be associated with a pen thickness, which then ultimately gets printed to that pen thickness. Okay, so it's very important that you choose the right colors. Okay, so later on you'll go down and you'll get to fern dash dash. Okay, so fern dash is a gray number 8, so I'm just going to create that layer so that you can see what I mean by that. So fern dash dash, and that is going to be gray 8. So gray 8, click. Okay, and you can actually see that it is a dashed line. All right, so we're going to click on continuous, we're going to load. All right, and we're going to make that a dashed line, so we can choose this dashed line here. We're going to go OK, and then we're going to default it to that, and we're going to go OK, and you'll see that that has changed. All right, and so forth. Carry on, and we'll just create one more layer, which is, well, 2 more layers, which is walls, which is found at the end. So walls 25 and walls 35. So let's just create that quickly. So that is walls 25, and the color there is magenta. Oh, I'm typing magenta, can you believe it? Magenta 6. Okay. 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 And we're going to create another layer, which is walls 35, and that's yellow. Walls 35, and that is yellow. Right. Okay, so now that your layers have been created, we can actually just close that box by going to the little X cross. We're still in layer 0 for now, and that's okay. What we are going to do is set up our drawing area. So we're creating almost an invisible rectangular space, so that when we need to find a drawing, we just go zoom, extends, and all the drawings that we've been drawing in and around the space will come into this viewing area. All right, or this viewpoint, we can call it. So in order for us to do that, we need to set our drawing limits. Okay, so we're going to just type in here limits, L-I-M-I-T-S. Okay, press enter, and limits specify lower left corner. All right, so the lower left corner, we're going to start off with where the where our UCS is, where our Y and Z is over here. And if we see that that's the start of 0.0, we're going to switch it on. And so we're going to just say enter. All right, and then we're going to specify the upper right corner. So from there right up to up here somewhere is where we want to create our zoom extends or zoom all, so that we can pull up all the drawings and see where all our drawings are when it gets to that stage of having many drawings on this viewpoint. Okay, so our limitation there to so that's creating an X and a Y, so up here somewhere. All right, so we're going to type in. Okay, so of course I've got dynamic input on, so it's prompting me in blue already, or I can just write it in the command line down here just so that everyone knows what I'm talking about. We're going to do our X value first, which is 3,0,0,0. We are going to lock that in by pushing a comma, and then we're going to do that again by 3,0,0,0,0. Okay, and we are going to say enter. Okay, so now we have set that invisible rectangle up, and what we need to do is then type in zoom all. So type in zoom. Okay, so there's zoom, click on it and select all, which is capital A. You can type in A over here, or what's nice with AutoCAD 2018, you can just click on it till it turns dark gray. All right, and now this is all set for our drawing area. So if we had to go over here and we're drawing something and we can't find something, then what we can do is you just hover over here and go zoom all, and that will bring up our drawing. Okay, so again, status bar down here, make sure your drawing aids are on or toggled on. So the items in blue are important. So let's switch on ortho because we're going to be drawing walls. We don't need to use that just yet in terms of we can need to show our your OSNAPs and your snow object snap tracking, for instance. But remember, if you got that on, it's working with all the different angles. You could work with that, I suppose. You could just type 90, or that does it all for you there. So let's just keep it on ortho mode. Okay. Now we are going to make our start with our exterior walls. And we know that the exterior walls are going to, it says here, drawing the walls. Use the polyline or PL to draw the draw tool to complete the outline shown in the example above. You may start at absolute coordinates 6,900 as an X coordinate and 6,000 as a Y coordinate, and draw in an anti-clockwise direction. Use external brick measurements. Refer to drawings for major project for dimensions. Okay, so we now have our so for those that have a second monitor, this becomes useful. We're going to, and I've only got the one screen here for now. Okay, so there it is there. Okay, let's just zoom that out. Okay, so that's the start of your exterior walls. Okay, so as I say, it's good to print this out or to pull it up on a second monitor and work off that. So I'm going to just look over here. So we'll be starting over here, and we're going to be going in a right direction by going 3120, and then we're going to come down, pulling our cursor downwards 600, then along by 4070, and then up, and so be it. All right, so I'll start you off with that, and you can just follow and then start practicing or start doing it. Okay, brilliant. So I'm just going to reduce that for now, or pull that up. Okay. Alrighty, so let's start. So we are going to start off with choosing, let's get into the current layer, so it's always good to do. So that is walls 35, and we are going to choose our polyline because we want it to be one continuous line, so we can easily offset that to create the inner wall line. Okay, so to start the cavity, that is, to offset for the cavity. So polyline we've chosen. We're going to choose now our start by absolute coordinates, and we're going to type that in. So the blue is prompting me where to start my first point, so I'm going to just type in 6900, and I'm going to lock that in with the X, and now I'm doing the Y coordinates of 6,000. Okay, and that looks all good, and I'm going to start. So that's enter. All right, so there you can actually see that from absolute 0, 69 by 6,000, that's where my drawing is going to start. Okay, and we are going to go along by creating the drawing, which is going to be 3120. So I'll pull the cursor going because we're going to go in an anti-clockwise direction, and so we type in 3120, enter, and we pull the cursor downwards, and we're going to go 600, enter. We're going to pull it to the right again, and that's 4070, enter. And so you just keep pressing enter to end and enter to restart, okay, because it's one continuous line. And then we are going upwards by 7080, 7080, and pull it again to the right. Okay, now you can push the scroll bar down just to pan it back into view, and we are going 3250, 3250, enter, and pull it down again by 7080. Okay, and go along by 3590, 3590, enter, and you could also use your tracking. That does it. Or you can just go up by 600 again, and so long. All right, so go all the way, follow that whole outline, and you should be okay for that. And then we will look at internal walls. All right, your external wall layer should look like this. Okay, now something that I just picked up and I forgot to mention is that when we go into our layer properties, let's just go back here. Remember, I changed this layer to a dashed line, and I said whenever we create a new layer, it automatically defaults to whatever I've created in the previous layer. So just bear in mind that you need to change whatever layer comes after this layer that you created, and change the line type, default it back to a continuous line type. So there, I've just changed it to continuous. Okay, it is important that you stick to what is asked in the procedure document, and make sure that this information is very clear and you've copied literally like for like. Okay, so we were in the current layer walls, so hence why that is yellow, and it is the exterior wall of a house. So for those that know a bit about building, you'll know that or see that this plan in your set of drawings actually represents a brick veneer house. So we have the outer layer of bricks, then we will offset that by 110, which is a brick size, and then we have a cavity of 40, and then we have a timber stud wall, which is represented by a offset distance of 90. All right, so just bear in mind that there is different thicknesses for exterior walls, either being double brick or using a different finish such as Hebel. So your wall thicknesses do change, so just make a note of that. So with this one, it's definitely brick veneer, so we're basing it on those default distances. Okay, now that I've got my outer walls, I am wanting to offset that. Also something that I came across is that if, say for instance, you're drawing something and you break the polyline and you start again, which I did over here. So basically I had this all as one this as one polyline, and this all here was a start of the second polyline, but I actually wanted it to be continuous. What I did was I actually just clicked on this section where the start of this polyline was, and I went to fillet, and I literally picked this side and this side, and it joined it up as one. So if I hover over that, you can see it's one continuous line, which is represented by me drawing it in a polyline. Okay, so we want to offset this. I don't know how many times I've repeated that, but let's do it. So we choose the tool offset in the modify panel, and we are going to offset that by the brick thickness, which is 110. It is going to be in the same layer that I'm on, so I don't have to do anything. I just literally type that offset distance, which is 110, enter. I pick the source line and I'm going to bring it inwards. Okay, so you can see that if I zoom in, that distance there is 110. All right, if you don't want to keep changing layers, you can actually just offset that again by pressing just to get out of this command, and then to restart you just press enter and enter again and specify the next distance, which is 40, which is enter, and you can now start with creating the cavity, and then we're going to offset that again by 90. So you then, just to stop there, I've now created my outer brick veneer wall. I've created the gap for the cavity, and now this line is actually should be in a different layer, which is represented by walls 25, because it is a thinner line when it gets plotted compared to the thicker line of the brick veneer on the exterior of your home. So you can either change properties by very simply doing this little paintbrush, match properties. It says there, match property, select the source object, which then we haven't done, but if you want to, you can create that either by just clicking on this and dropping down your menu and clicking on that. Okay, now that has changed that to the correct layer. Or you can, I'm just going to delete that line just to show you another version. Or you can go into choosing that wall layer, which is walls 25, and we do what we did when we learned all about offset by clicking on offset, and we choose layer down here because we want to change the new offset line to its new or current layer that we've just selected. So we choose layer, and it's telling us current or source. We're wanting to change it to the current layer, and because we want it to be in magenta, and we need to offset that by 40, which it remembered from the last prompt I did, and we are going to offset that. Now you can actually see the source line is still yellow, but the new line or the new object we've created for the start of our interior framed wall is going to be magenta. Okay, so we could also match properties, and that's what I was trying to tell you earlier. So just say, for instance, you actually drew this line in the current layer and you went, oh, it's supposed to be in another layer. It's very easy. You can also just match properties. This is just another version by selecting the source and then selecting the other object, and you press enter, and now both of them will match. So you choose the source and you match it to the other layer that you want it to be. Okay, now I'm just going to go out of that because I want that to be that, and now I'm going to carry on with offsetting my inner wall, which is a 90mm stud wall, and I choose it's in the same layer, so I don't have to choose current layer because I'm in that layer, and there we go. Alright, so I hope that makes sense with matching properties, or clicking on this line and even just doing the manage manage layer drop down box, and as I hover over that layer you can actually see it automatically picks up those properties of that layer. Okay, so that's also an easy way. So there's different ways of doing one command, and that's what I'm showing you. Either match or change it here, or offset it in the current layer that you're wanting it to be. Okay. Okay, to offset the interior walls of this house, we are going to keep it in the same layer. So walls in magenta, which is walls 25, and that will represent your 90mm stud walls, and we need to offset it from the internal wall, which was again your stud wall. Okay, and if I hover over this, you'll see that it is a polyline, but we need to use that as a source line to offset from, and with that then we need to explode this polyline so that it becomes individual objects, and from there we can be able to offset our internal walls. Now I'm just got this up just to give you a reference. What will happen is when I'm working here it's going to disappear, so let me just show you where I'll be working. You'll see that we will be looking at this measurement here, 3030, and then this measurement here of 1180, which is the outside of this stud wall, so within this room, and then to the exterior of that line there. Okay, and then of course offset the stud wall on both sides. Okay, for this wall here, this internal wall, we're going to work with this measurement here. All right, starting there. So that's 4150, and that is the stud wall on the inside there. So from there to there it is 4150, and then we're going to offset that by 90. And again, to do where it has an indentation there, we are going to place a cupboard eventually, but to create that, that's 600. So from that line we offset it by 600, and again offset for 90 for the stud. So let's just do that. Okay, so as I said, I'm just going to zoom in and grab it to explode. So there we go, it's turning all blue, and I am going to explode it. Alright, and I press, if I just hover over that, it should explode that internal polyline into all separate objects. Now I can be able to offset. Okay, so again, work in a clockwise direction, so we're working in this bottom corner here. Okay, so we're going to start off with our first measurement of 3030. So let's press offset. We're in the current layer we want it in, and we are going to give it a distance of 3030. So type that in, 3030, enter. Choose the source line, which is that one, and we're going to bring it across. Then we're going to end that command and restart again. So enter, and we are being prompted for a distance, so we need to complete this inner stud wall of 90, enter, and again there. So we've got that wall up. Now we are going to work with this line to work up here. In order for us to get that, we need to look at the dimensions on the left hand side of the drawing, and we can see that that is got a distance of it is 3650. So let's offset that again. So enter and enter again, and we type in 3650, enter, and grab it up there. And then we have offset that by 90. So enter, type in 90, enter, and there we go. And then we need to now bring it down to create that indentation to receive a cupboard, and that is going to be offset by 600. So we're going to go enter to restart it, and we're going to type in 600, enter, and we're going to bring that down. And we're going to do that again by offsetting that by 90. So enter 90, and bring that on that side there. Okay, so now we need to get this vertical line, and we need to offset that by that was 1000 from the inner stud wall to the other stud wall, or we could look at 1180. Let's do that. So I'll work with this line, because if you look at the measurement, it's easier to work with that. So let's do 1180. So enter, and we're offsetting that by 1180, and we're going to take that line and offset it. Okay, right, and we are going to offset that again by 90, and offset that there. Okay, and enter, because we're going to offset this line to create it up there, which is going to be 4150. So 4150, enter, select the source line, pull it up, and where is it? Oh, okay, let's do that again. So let's just choose that, 4150, press enter, select the source line and click OK. And then we are going to offset that again by 90 and press 90, enter, and there we go. Alright, so I'm just starting you off with that. Now we just need to clean it all up. What we can do is, in order for us to get this quickly done, we can go to split drop down button to fillet, and remember that we'll choose the lines to create either an arc or a sharp angle. Automatically it will go to radius, so choose radius, make sure that is 0, so type in 0 because it will give it a arc and we don't want that, so enter, and then we choose multiple so we can just carry on, and we are going to see that it's that line and that line. Okay, now do you see how it's actually getting rid of that line there? So that's not a good start. So let's go exit. So I'm just going to exit that command and choose fillet again, and we will start with over here. Alright, so that line, choose multiple, there we go. Okay, and that line, that line, that line, that line, that line, and that line. And there we go. Alright, so we couldn't use it for there and there because if I picked that and that, this line would disappear. So what we need to do is just exit that by escape and choosing our trim and just trimming off. So let's do that again, trim, press enter, and we are going to select the objects there just by trimming that. Alright. And there. And there and there. And that should start you off with your internal walls. So use the offset and trim and fillet tools to help you create your internal walls. Thanks.